The hope of the United States Constitution was, and they expressed this very clearly in Freedom of the Press, First Amendment to the Constitution, their hope was that the media would serve as a check on excesses of the government. In my younger days, I believed that. My hope was in radio, television, magazines, newspapers, who would tell the truth. Now that hope has been dashed because radio has gone nuts with its discussions and with its talking heads. Television is boring. Magazines and newspapers are dying out. Furthermore, as they cling on, the newspapers and the magazines, they avoid anything controversial. So they do not confront some of the idiocy that goes on in the United States. And they have to play to all sides, so they have subscriptions and people who are willing to buy their magazines and their newspapers. And the same goes for television. It's weak. It is not an answer. It is a fading, non-significant factor in the United States. Now some think, well, the Sunday morning talk shows show balance because they interview people of all persuasions. Let me tell you that there are no piercing questions about ideology on the Sunday morning talk shows. They're weak. They do not say anything, really. They do not ask for specifics when somebody attacks an option like Obamacare. They don't ask specifics. They let the broad generalization go so they can play to viewers of all stripes. Today I'm going to begin confrontation. So the title of this talk, or this lecture, is The Libertarian Nonsense. I saw Rand Paul on Meet the Press recently, and he was dissembling or spouting bullshit so that he did not have to be specific in any way. He doesn't want to offend people. I think he wants to be president. And so one of the things he will always say is, you do not understand my position. And he dismisses any partial confrontation. And then they will say, the defenders of libertarianism will say, you are scared of the freedom that we are talking about. I'm not scared of it. I think it's ignorant. I think it's an ideology, a fundamentalist ideology that could hurt the United States. But let's go to their principles. Let's say, because as I said, in terms of looking at the SCALPEL way to analyze these ideologies, first you have to understand their system. And what they do is they continually press on four themes. One, you can win success if you work hard. They emphasize that over and over again. Two, libertarians are anti-big government. And no one challenges, will you be specific and say exactly what you want to get rid of? Do you want to get rid of the FAA that monitors the air all over the United States? And you want pilots and planes to just fly willy-nilly across the sky? Nobody questions that. They are anti-big government. Three, laissez-faire. If you just leave the market alone, it will really bring in success to our country. You have to stop this big government regulation. Four, they always emphasize this, foreign policy needs to be tamed. We shouldn't be building something in another country, we should be building in our country. And so the libertarians always push for less money for the State Department and the White House in terms of foreign policy. Okay, so now it's time to employ the scalpel, and I've already hinted at it in terms of what they're saying. Success comes from hard work. Well, it's very strange that the wealthy, the children of the wealthy, always move up the ladder. Why is that? Why does that happen? And if they really believe that success comes from hard work, they should believe in totally getting rid of protection on inheritances so that everybody starts out tabula rasa, clean slate. Everybody starts out even. But you look at somebody like the Koch brothers, they not only inherited mass wealth, but they inherited a company. They inherited contacts and business and education, and they inherited excellent education. If you believe it's hard work, why do you oppose early start, Head Start programs for children so that they can get education just like the wealthy receive when they are raised? Okay, let's move on. They are anti-big government. And so there are movements around the country that the free market fundamentalists will take over the water systems. And they want to sell the water and make a profit on the water. So once, at the time of the Constitution, water was free. And now we want to make a profit on water. Do they want to take a charge of all the sewers? Do they want to take charge of all the roads? They'd say yes. They can make money on sewage. They can make money by charging on interstates. There won't be free interstates. Everything will go up because trucks will be paying a lot more in their deliveries of goods in the United States. Do they really want to not have regulation on meat products? I mean, this is really nuts. That's why I say it's libertarian nonsense. We need regulation. We cannot allow laissez-faire. We tried that with George W. Bush when he knocked off regulation, and we had the greatest recession in the history of the world. Not quite a depression, but next to it. And the only way out was to employ strategies of John Maynard Keynes, where the Federal Reserve started pumping money into the economy, and still does years and years later. Their fourth principle is that foreign policy needs to be tamed. I wonder if they are aware of what happened when Russians took over Crimea, because all the European countries started looking to the United States and saying, are you going to protect us? We have friends, foreign policy. The State Department has made friends all throughout Europe. And these little countries, up near Norway and Sweden, they're small little countries, they are afraid that they will be taken over by Russia, and they want us to protect them. So how much do you want to get rid of foreign policy? How much do you want to subtract from the Defense Department? Of course, they'll say, you do not understand me, because I want to be strengthening the Defense Department. We got to be strong. And so they use all kind of muscular metaphors, as if foreign policy has to do with going to the gymnasium. And it depends on how many muscles you have. And Obama is weak. He's not strong. We don't have muscular policies. We don't threaten. Come on. We're living in the 21st century when life on this planet can be knocked out by all kind of chemicals and explosions and nuclear and hydrogen bombs. We have to learn how to cooperate. Well, the basic philosophy. I always look to those three basic assumptions. One, of course, is that regulation is wrong, and you can get wherever you want by working hard, and that is a farce, because we've had minorities treated very badly in this country, and they do not have a fair shake, and they are not lazy and avoiding success. By the way, success is one of their assumptions, and that means to them financial. So if you have a lot of money, you are successful. And if you say something about the wealthy, they say, you have envy. I don't have envy. I have pity, because the people who I've seen who have really amassed great wealth have not lived. They've thought that the main thing was having, possessing, owning. And the main thing, as I've said earlier in the freedom lectures, is living, experiencing, loving, creating, singing, dancing. It's not having, it's being that is important. Okay. A lot of assumptions there I've already addressed. Laissez-faire and hard work get you to the top. But let's think of the consequences. The rich and poor, with this emphasis about success and hard work and wealth and help the wealthy, means the divide between the rich and poor gets greater and greater and greater and greater. Is that good for the United States? Is that even good for consuming? In that people are minimized, where their income is kept down. It's interesting how the free market fundamentalists use this Great Recession that started in 2008, created by George W. Bush. I have no doubt about that, and his policies, and letting the banks run wild. One thing that they have used is they want to keep salaries very low. And this has been a problem because the divide between rich and poor has extended. And as there was a lot of unemployment, that means they could hire people at a lower rate. So we've got to watch ideologies. Ideologies kill, and invariably they will put down women. I'll return to that later on. I was interested recently that when Rand Paul was on Meet the Press, he said, this war against women, that's ridiculous. It's something that the Democrats started. And they forget that women don't get paid as much as men doing equal work, and they want to keep those salaries down. That's one little aspect of war and women. So when I look at libertarianism, I think we need a new book. We need an idiot's guide to political irrationality in defense of the libertarian philosophy.